I don't know, man. I don't know. What are you gonna do about the Mariners? Um,
Yeah.
Welcome back. Circling Seattle Sports. I have a new friend with me here in Ty Dane Gonzalez. I'm sure if you're a Mariners fan, you know who Ty is. He and Kobe have done such great work with Locked On Mariners. Ty's done some other stuff. I didn't know you wrote for the longest time. I didn't know you wrote. And then, I
Yeah.
asked some folks, it was like, oh, so that was fun to learn about. Brought Ty on, to talk about the Mariners, obviously, ahead of game one here, this Dodgers series, doing the little ASMR quiet voice because the Mariners press box is going to be very busy today. I'm not a big ASMR guy, so I'm not going to tap on anything. But first and foremost, Ty, welcome. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on, taking the time. Um, I guess just, I'm sure you guys have done stuff already on it. I know you have. I've seen it.
Mhm.
But just your reaction to the AL West title, because I mean, for so long, there are the memes. I know Joe Vieira always has the memes of the banner up there and looking up there in right field, and it just Houston was always there. There was the Investigate 2023 with the Rangers. Like, I just
Yeah.
it's just so gratifying for so many folks. Just I don't know, what was your initial reaction with them winning the West? And I don't know, how does it feel? At least in
Yeah.
your mind, a few days later.
Well, first and foremost, I really appreciate you having me on. You and I have talked a bunch, on social media, and I've told you this before, but I really like what, all of you guys do over at Circling, and it's just been great seeing you guys grow. So it's yeah, it's really cool to be here. And yeah, I mean, like I guess like my first thought, I talked to Gary Hill about this actually yesterday. We were texting in the morning, and I think for me, like 2022, I was very much like focused on my own emotions and like how long it's been for me and, just the whole journey of that. And like, I got teary eyed when they, when Cal hit the home run and all that. This time I'm more so just like, I immediately thought about like, all the people who comment on our show or send us emails or whatever saying, a variety of things of like, I've been a fan since 77. I've only seen them win three division titles, or people like me where, they were 5 years old or something like that since the last time they won. And for some people, a lot of people, people who are in their 20s now who are like, I wasn't alive the last time they won the division. This is the first time I'm ever, I've ever seen this. So, I thought about, what that meant to, those people first and foremost. And then, it goes down the list. Obviously, these players and, what a lot of these guys have gone through over the last couple of years. And, we all know about the 54% thing and how that just, you haven't been able to shake that for the last couple of years. And, that's just been like the thing that's like cast a shadow over you this whole time, and just the disappointment in general of the last two seasons, and seeing the Rangers go all the way and seeing the Astros catch you after you had the 10 game lead last, and all everything that's gone into the last 2 years. And I think you saw this, but I tweeted when I saw that picture that Jessamine McIntyre posted of Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander celebrating when they clinched the postseason, and like, good for them. I've been critical of them. For a while we were very, defensive of Jerry and Justin's vision, to the point where, people just dragged us mercilessly for that. But eventually, like, after the comments of the 54% thing and just how lackluster the last couple of off seasons have been, how disappointing the trade deadline was in 2023, like we started to crack, right? And like we started to start to heavily criticize them as well. But I just saw that picture and like I was just so happy for them, really, because like, you know I don't have anything personal against Jerry Dipoto and Justin Holler. Maybe some other fans do, but like I don't, like I think some of the things that specifically Jerry has said to the media has been silly. But in general, like I want him to succeed. And if you're a Mariners fan, you should want Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander succeed. It's way better than the opposite, right? It's really better than the alternative. So seeing that picture, I was just so happy for those guys because I mean, like for as long as these last 2 years have felt for us, it had to have felt like an eternity for them, and who knows what the plan was or what the plan would have been had they not made the playoffs this year and it was another disappointing year. Maybe they were working for their jobs this year, who knows, so it was really nice to see, like, they went out, they got incredibly aggressive at the deadline, they did something they had never done before, and going after and getting aggressive and going after the high profile rentals and being willing to pay what that would take. And in the end, it really didn't take that much, if we're being honest about it. But still, like, they went out, they identified the two best hitters out on the market, and they decided we're not just going to get one of them, we're going to get both of them. And I mean, it was the first thing out of Dan Wilson's mouth when he addressed the crowd the other night. Like, he was like, "Thank you to these guys for going out and getting the pieces that we needed at the deadline." So I think just for them, like, that was really cool, and just for everyone that's been involved in this organization from top to bottom. I talked to Aaron yesterday. I sent Aaron a text, and I was like, you've called a lot of bad baseball, and you've also called a lot of heartbreak, and I'm just so happy for you to finally call a season like this. And and same for, like, Rick, right? Like, I think about Rick, and everyone from the social media team to the graphics department, everyone that's involved in this, like, I'm just so happy for those guys.
Yeah, no, it is a great point. First of all, to go to your last, what you were saying at the end there, just there are so many people, you hear day to day, you see what these people pour into this, right? I mean, talking to Rick, you mentioned folks who were 20 or so. Yeah, I was a few months old when this last happened. So I don't really remember that. I also don't really remember what happened in September of 2001. Something else crazy. I don't know. But yeah, there's like Rick, one of the greatest humans you can meet, and Aaron's so good at his job and is always so accommodating with his time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean the social team, like they everything they put out is class. The people behind it are class. Like, yeah, I mean it is a testament not only to experience something like this because they're the folks who grew up around here and they get to work for their childhood ball club, but also folks who get to, raise it up, right? It's like, I'm
yeah,
sure you guys know it, with you guys celebrating milestones in terms of subscribers, you want to do more with the playoffs, right? There's an added layer to it. You want to do justice to the moment. And these folks certainly have done that. I will
yeah.
say, while this is happening, you talk about, sorry, the folks who are involved, Adam Jude and Ryan Divish, who are right over there, just broke news that the Mariners are going to effectively shutter Root Sports. Um, the
Oh, wow.
Mariners just announced beginning next year, MLB will take over distribution of their game telecast and streaming, roles previously fulfilled by Root Sports. Divish tweeted, John Stanton held a meeting on Monday at Root and announced the news. Channel will go completely dark on the 31st of December. We don't know what that means for some of the folks that you've come to love. Brad Adams been a good friend to us. Usually sits right in
Yeah,
front of me right there.
yeah.
Um, but that has all happened while we are talking here.
Wow,
So I'm sure
wow.
that'll be some everybody we all have to talk about, right? That'll be
Yeah,
big stuff. Try to regain my thought here because that is pretty significant news.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, no, with Jerry and Justin, it's just like everyone knows about the chills with Jerry, right?
yeah, yeah,
And my dad, who instilled the love of baseball in me, all that sort of stuff, has always kind of been a big proponent to Jerry. Always, like the trust in Jerry. He texted me that all the time. Um, you know, 2019 on. I was like, I
yeah,
don't know. Um, like if it's the media, it's always feeling like Justin Hollander's maybe the better front-facing executive to talk to, just because he seems to articulate things better. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, to do what they did and not give up a guy like Harry Ford, who is now, nope, that's Leo Rivas. Oops, my eyes are bad. I have glasses for a reason. Harry Ford, who's with the ball club now, a guy who seemed like the top trade piece, right? To
yeah,
do what they
yeah,
did without moving guys like Laz. Um, no, it's pretty remarkable. And you have to think that they are pretty set up. You'd like to re-sign Josh Naylor, of course, with the waves of prospects that they talk about.
yeah,
Um, to kind of shift forward to looking at the future, because I'm sure we could have talked for even more about that there.
yeah,
What do you hope for with this Dodgers series? I know you and I talked about it right before we started, but I mean, it feels like at this point you've got the two seed locked up. There's technically the possibility, the mathematical possibility of the one seed, but
Yeah. It's so far-fetched, and like, I think the Orioles or the Yankees are playing the Orioles, if I'm not mistaken, and the Blue Jays are playing the Rays, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if like everything's going to fall into place. And really that only matters if the Blue Jays or the Yankees win the divisional round and you win the divisional round, which, let's take this one step at a time, folks. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, like, what am I hoping for from this series? I mean, not to put bad juju out there, but I mean, first and foremost, don't get hurt. Like, in 2022, Sam Haggerty unfortunately got hurt in the final series of the year, and you don't want to have a repeat of that. So knock on wood there. Second of all, would love to, obviously see Cal either tie or break Judge's record. There's other certain milestones. Obviously, like if Gino hits one more home run, he gets 50. Him and Cal become the second pair of teammates to hit 50 plus home runs each in a season, joining, funny enough, Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. um, like Randy has an outside shot of getting to 30-30. Julio has an outside shot of getting to 30-30. Both of those guys do that. They would be the first pair of teammates in American League history to do that. So there's like a lot of potential for more firsts this year, which it feels like, this year has been all about firsts. And obviously a big reason for that is Cal. But yeah, I mean, so that's really what I'm watching for. There isn't really anything else unless they make roster moves, like unless they were to call up a Michael Fulmer or Gregory Santos or something like that. And I don't, it doesn't seem like they're going to do that. So yeah, there isn't really anything to see there. So pretty much what I'm looking for here is just like final tune up from Kirby, and I know on the website it says TBD for Gilbert, but on roster resources still has him starting, so I don't know, but potentially a final tune up for him, so I don't know what the plan is there. And then yeah, just stay healthy, keep these guys in bubble wrap.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I know Divish asked Dan Wilson last night what the plan was with the rotation because, on the little screen in here it just said TBA. And he said George, and then he didn't tell us anything outside of that. I imagine
Interesting.
here at 3 o'clock Pacific, we should hear that. Hopefully. I mean, I would like to go through the game today knowing what's going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I was looking at that last night. I guess I had forgotten in the struggles that he's had recently that Randy is at is 3 homers away from 30 because what he's at 29 bags right now. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
nice, he's gonna get it. Uh, it's that. So yeah, I think that's just the biggest thing, right? Is staying. I saw someone on the very popular social media app known as Threads reply to us and say, hey, like, is it a bad thing that they're gonna have this buy? Like, you want them to stay hot. I'm like, given I always think to this, Ty, back in what was it, 22 when Cal had his thumb all fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he didn't want people to know about that. He wanted, as in typical Cal Raleigh fashion, he would have preferred people didn't know about that. It didn't want to make it a big thing. He wanted to focus on winning. Um, my point being is you don't know what these guys are dealing with. Like we only see so much of it. You see guys maybe getting treatment or, you know, you can see the welts sometimes,
Yeah.
which is a little different. I remember when they came back, I think last homestand, Dom Kenzone had a bruise the size of like a filet mignon steak. It was huge
Yeah.
on his side. So I think just getting them healthy, or especially with Brian, which I'm curious about this because I've asked our folks, Brittany,
Yep.
our writer Brittany, and we've got Jake as well on our Mariner Mondays side of things. Um, but I guess your three, like I think Kramer's, we got Brian. We kind of got Brian yesterday. After he
Mhm.
threw, he didn't. It wasn't formal. It was more so just like in passing. And yeah, I guess it would slate him for game two. Really quickly, what does your three look like? Because for a while, he's just had the bad run. I understand he's a veteran, but
Yeah.
he's really started to come out down the stretch here. I don't know. What does your three look like? I'm sure you said it again, but just for conversation's sake, what does your three look like for the LDS?
I'm still flip-flopping right now. Like I'm still
Really?
not entirely sure. Yeah, because like it does make a difference that you are going to play the first two games at home and you only have to win three games at home in order to advance to the ALCS. So it does change the math here a little bit for me. The other thing too is yeah, Kramer's article yesterday saying that maybe Wu starts game two instead of game one. That's also kind of interesting to me. I would consider having Luis start in game one. If Wu has to go game two, I would consider having Luis start game one. I mean, he's pitched in a lot of big games for you, and he throws a lot better at home than he does on the road. So if you are going to use Luis in a playoff series in a playoff game, that would be the preferable spot. I think this is crazy to say. I would legitimately consider not throwing Logan Gilbert
Like, huh?
in the DS. Like obviously in the CS because plus you have three games in a row in the CS, so
Yeah.
you would probably have to use four starters. It's it's difficult because it's like on one hand, Logan, gets all these strikeouts and he's been able to limit the damage outside of the Philadelphia start. And in
Hmm.
the playoffs, all you really need is like 4 or 5 innings, 4 or 5 good innings of like 1 0 run ball, and then you hand it off to the bullpen. On the other hand, though, his inability over the course of this year to get guys out in a timely fashion concerns me. Innings 3 through 5 in Houston sent up red flags for me. And I think George is in a really good spot right now. And I have a hard time saying, George, you can't go.
Yeah. No,
Like
that's
the
huh.
problem here is like the problem here is you're gonna have a difficult decision with someone. You're gonna
Hmm.
have a difficult conversation with someone, and like telling Luis Castillo, who's been your guy, like, yeah, we're not giving you the ball. Like that's gonna be tough. Like that's gonna be an awkward conversation. It's like there isn't. I don't think there's a win-win situation here, really, for the Mariners. So I don't know how they go about this. Yeah, the one thing that I'm hung up on is Logan. I totally understand if they go with Logan. I'm not gonna, be like, oh, this, you fuck this up. Like, no, but like, yeah, he's the one guy right now where I'm just like, I don't feel great if he's
I think the
starting.
rationale makes sense. It just I was thinking about this. I think it was after when they were celebrating the West in the clubhouse. I was going to go and talk amidst all of the champagne and all that to Logan, and I realized my questioning would be yeah about because he didn't get to he was what prepared to pitch if there was a game four of the LDS in 22 if I remember correctly. We had a press conference with him,
Yeah,
uh, and he didn't get to do that. And I imagine he really wants to pitch in the playoffs, and so that's where my thinking was at. But also that was is 3 years ago. I can't live in the past, right? As much as this
yeah,
franchise has done that over its existence. Um, no, it's a good point though with George and riding high. I think of a place that I just came from with hockey and the
yeah,
goalies. You ride the hot hand, right?
yeah.
And same thing can apply with the pitchers. You got to ride the hot hand. Um, yeah, with Luis, as you mentioned, he's pitched in big games for you. He's just rolling down the stretch. Talk about playing at home. These are all great points. It's part of the reason we brought you here. Like,
Yeah.
this is
By the way,
right.
maybe they actually roll with four starters in the ALDS because that game four would be on the road, and you don't want Luis to start on the road if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Maybe you go Logan for game four, George for game four.
And well, now I can't stop thinking about you mentioning he hasn't, the efficiency part of things, because that's been my big thing. I'm like, okay, we get through Logan start, I'll write down on my scorebook. I'm like, took a little bit more than it needed to.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like cool, like one earned run allowed, 10 strikeouts, but it took him 97 pitches to get through five. It's
yeah.
like,
So no, that's a good point. I'll keep you rolling here. Uh, uh, oh yeah, I guess as you mentioned, you don't want to look pass the DS. You got to get through it first. Obviously
Yeah.
there's so much excitement, but you got to get through that series, and who knows what you run into, because if it's slated right now with the winner of the Tigers Guardians, whatever sort of devil magic that they've got going on over there, they've been rolling the Tigers. I mean, I don't know. They haven't playing very good baseball in the month of September.
Yeah.
Um, I believe what the one series win they've got is against the Yankees. Last I checked, and that was a few days ago. I don't know, just however many you'd like, but just super basic. What are your keys for a playoff run here? Like, obviously, I'm sure health is one. You need your guys
Yeah.
good to go. Like,
Yeah.
anytime Josh Naylor, seems to hold his shoulder a little bit, I think everybody holds their collective breath. But
Yeah.
Ty's keys to the postseason, what would those be?
Well, I think the one thing, and I see a lot of fans talking about like which pitchers they don't want to see and all this. Look, you're going to face really good pitching no matter what. Like you're going to face Tarek Skubal, you're going to face Kevin Gossman. It doesn't matter. You're going to run into some really good pitching. And look, this team has actually been pretty good at hitting against good pitching. Like they've won 2 games in which Scooble started. Like they've beaten a lot of good pitchers. Maybe they haven't beaten the specific pitcher, but they've won those games in which that pitcher has started. So I think I mean, at the end of the day, there really is only one key to a successful postseason. You got to pitch well. Like the offense is going to be the offense, and like this lineup has proven that they can carry things at time, but October is a different animal, and you kind of just it has to be like the Houston series where you just, especially that Hunter Brown start, where you just hope that you get a couple of home runs and the pitching can hang on. That's really the formula to winning in the postseason. So this rotation just has to be the rotation that you thought it could be. And it's and not the one that we've seen for unfortunately most of this year. You need whoever it is starting. You need Brian Wu, you need Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby to be Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Brian Wu, and Luis Castillo. Like that's just what it is. Um, I think the rest after that point just takes care of itself. I think also, I'm a bit curious to see how Dan manages things. He needs to be decisive. He needs to be bold in these moments, like he was in Houston, at least in that first game in Houston. There's the Vargas thing that, yeah, we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, I mean, like, how is Dan going to? I mean, because this is new territory for Dan. What is that going to look like for him? So how does he handle this? And is he going to be as like loose with like Carlos Vargas in the postseason as he's been in the regular season? But yeah, I mean, it just comes down to those 4 guys in your rotation, whoever you're ultimately using. This offense is really good, but if the pitching isn't there, then I just don't think they're moving forward.
No, I mean that's what we feels like we've talked about the last few years with this team, right? Anybody with this team is the pitching, and if you just get them into the postseason, you know.
Yeah,
So it does largely seem like it's clicking at the right time, but it's a different beast. Um, this is a tough question. I feel like it's tough. Maybe you don't think it is. So I've obviously asked it, but it feels like some of these guys do get a lot of recognition. Uh, who's an underrated name for you with this ball club, in terms of just, success throughout the year that's, isn't going to get as much shine as the Julios, the Cals, the Nailers.
yeah,
I feel like the first name that comes to mind, and everybody seems to be aware of it now, is Eduard Bizardo. Like,
yes,
the joke in here is that he's going to throw his arm off because of how much usage they've used him
yeah,
so much this year. I remember, I don't know if you will get the specific game, but it was, I think, last year against the Rangers. They were wearing their Steelheads caps on a
yeah,
Saturday, and they had a good lead. It was on Fox.
yep.
Bizardo
Tyler
comes in.
Locklear saved the day.
Him and what was it? Ryan Stanek. I'm in.
Yeah,
Mariners legend Ryan Stanek. We're a
yeah.
lot. It's a very different time than that Bizardo. Um, would you go with him, or is there someone else you'd slot into the sort of underrated, unsung hero of this season so far?
I think Bizzardo is like with a bullet, the unsung hero of this team. Like, I mean, how many innings is he throwing now? Like 76, 75, something like that. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. And I mean, like, he's thrown at times where it made no sense to use, to use him. Like, he threw what back-to-back innings on Saturday against the Astros, and I was like, or Friday against the Astros, and he had pitched the day before in Kansas City, and I'm like, well, there's no way that Bizzardo's available, and then sure enough, here he comes in the seventh inning or the sixth inning or whatever, and like he has just been so good this year, and I think really the big thing is like his command and control has never been really off. Like I can't remember a time where I was like, man, he's really struggling to throw strikes right now, or he's having a hard time like locating right now. Like maybe he's throwing strikes, but he's hitting the middle of the plate way too much. Like that's been a huge development for me because like the stuff has always been really good, but it's been that next step that he's taken. And that's why, I mean, look, I love Andres Munoz. He's a dog. Gabe Spire is an absolute dog. I trust Eduardo Bizardo the most out of anyone in that bullpen right now. Like he's the guy that my stomach feels at its easiest when he's in the game.
It's so because coming out of spring training, right? It's like you knew some of the well, I think actually last year, Gabe had kind of a down year. So, it's like, okay, you got 75, 47, 55, and then it kind of felt like what? Just to kind of how are you going to piecemeal this together? Gregory Santos is a figment of my imagination. He isn't real.
Yeah.
He can't hurt me. Um, it is so crazy. Yeah, to see the numbers he's contributed. 71 games this year, 77.1 innings. If we're losing the lowly B WAR, he's 1.9 B WAR. Um, I have to make sure I clarify that so I don't get yelled at. I know you know how that feels.
Yes.
I don't know. This might take longer than I want to, just sitting here staring at fan graphs as my computer gets really slow right now.
Let's see if I can get it. I got it.
Only
Yeah,
point
point
0.5
five.
F4
Yeah. They
feels
love
like
strikeouts. They love strikeouts. And he's like
um,
he's averaging a strikeout an inning, but like yeah, unless you're running like a 13, 14 Ks per nine, you're probably going to be a sub win uh reliever. So yeah, but yeah, like we all know the value of Edward Bizarro. Like the dude has been insane this year, and especially like they didn't get Duran, then Trent Thornton tears his Achilles, and like you needed someone to step up, and Brash coming off of the surgery that he has, like you couldn't put all your eggs in that basket, and there at times he's been better. He's exceeded my expectations. At times it's been like, yeah, that looks like a guy that is only a year or so removed from Tommy John surgery. So like, and that's to be expected, right? But yeah, I mean, Bizzardo has just been so huge for this club, and he's going to be massive in the postseason. Like he is the guy to me in this postseason. A couple other guys, just to answer your question a little bit further. Dom Canzone, I mean, he's been red hot for like the last week, and the big thing has been that he has completely eliminated his splits issues this year, which is nuts because like he struggled against lefties in AAA. He was struggling against lefties in AAA this year, but he got called back up and he's been fine against lefties. He's actually done real damage against lefties this year. And so, he's proven like he could be, you could legitimately put him in a lineup no matter who's on the bump. Now, obviously, they're going to pick their spots with him, but he's given them more, flexibility and just more options that way, and that's been a huge part of it. JP has been fantastic in the month of September. It's been really, really good. Kind of fell off there, in the middle part of the season, but this past month, JP has been great with the bat. Not so much with the glove, but with the bat for sure.
that is something in the off season that I'd love to have you on and talk about because it's something that
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a problem to worry about later. But
yeah.
yeah, Dom Canzone, I remember talking to him earlier in the year. Dom's always a funny guy. I'll share a story with you. I remember I think there was some sage burning last year, right? Lord knows
Yeah.
I needed that throughout the year. And Dom could smell it, and so a few of us were waiting outside the clubhouse, and I think it was oh shoot. Oh no, Beavis and Butthead. He was I don't remember what episode it was. Go fire, fire. And just any time you get an ounce of personality from Dom Canzone, it's pretty funny. He's
Yeah,
actually an underrated funny guy. But anyway, talked to him earlier in the season. One of the biggest things he said, he attributed to growth and success was being healthy. I guess he was just dealing with a
yeah,
bunch of stuff that didn't come out last year, and it fucked with him, for lack of a better word. So it's really cool.
yeah,
It is really cool to see him doing well. Um, so yeah, no, and I said Rosardo. I mean, yeah, I whatever you want to say, Bizardo boys, whatever. I
yeah,
fully part
yeah,
of it. I have flipped my tune. We'll wrap you
yeah,
up here with something closer to home.
yeah.
Kid Cudi, and that whole like the back and forth with JP, him quote tweeting you. Who knows when we'll see him here? Because I mean, he sounds interested. I don't know. I was told there's a writer, Taryn, who was with on Sports Illustrated, and now was Roundtable Sports, who was saying he had dropped an album a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't think he's touring, so I don't.
No, no, I don't think so. Yeah. But yeah, he did drop an album a few weeks ago. Yeah, I'll just say this. If I see at any point in the postseason, Kid Cudi walk out onto the field in a Seattle Mariners jersey, throw out a first pitch, they're winning the World Series. They're winning the World Series. Like like it's happening. Yeah, I mean it's been crazy. My two like here's like this thing that I love, right? And it's over in this universe over here. And then here's this other thing that I love that's part of my everyday life and is literally like part of like a huge part of my livelihood. And it's over here. And now these two universes are like colliding with one another at maybe the greatest time ever for at least one of the universes, right? Like they're they're winning their first division since I was 5 years old, and then here comes my childhood hero to like invade the universe. And like be part of this thing and like like we talked about before we got on here, like I knew that like JP loved Cuddy. Like I knew like he followed him on Twitter and stuff. I noticed that. And like I asked, I had Taylor Saucedo on our show last spring, not this spring, but last spring. And like we talked about Cuddy and so I knew that, and you had told me like Mojo So Dope was part of their win playlist, and Mr. Rager and all that, and yeah, and so I'm watching the post game celebration after they clinched the playoffs, and Angie is interviewing Logan maybe, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey, Mr. Rager," and I'm like, oh my God, the Mariners are singing Mr. Rager, which, okay, Man on the Moon 2, which that song is from, that is my favorite album of all time. Okay. Like, that's not an exaggeration. That is my favorite album of all time. I think Mr. Rager is one of the greatest songs ever made. Like, I have that album along with the other two Man on the Moon albums behind me on my set, and I've had those behind me on my set even back when I had my old set. So for the last 4 years, so people know how much I love Cuddy, and to have this happen at this specific moment is mind blowing to me. And there's a story that I've told to people. I used to make like album artwork when I was like a teenager, and I would like make it for terrible SoundCloud artists and stuff, and they give me like $5 here and there and whatever. And but I would also make like art for songs that didn't have art, that I wanted on my iTunes. And so back when Cuddy and Dot Genius were making their Wizard project, they had a song called "Teleport to Me" that Cuddy released like a snippet of. It was like the first half of the song, and I wanted it on my iTunes, but he didn't drop artwork for it, so I made artwork for it. And so I decided to like share it with people on a forum of a certain artist that Cuddy is has been affiliated with, but we won't mention on this show. I think you can probably connect the dots on who that might be. Yeah, we won't mention him. But I used to be on a forum for that guy, and posted the artwork on there, and the artwork went everywhere. Like MTV started using it for all their posts about Wizard and all this stuff. And like to this day, like if you look at some of like Cudi's like leaked music on YouTube or whatever, like people use that artwork for like the YouTube video, and like a couple of them have like over 1 million views. Timothy Chalamet said like one of these songs is his favorite, and like that song on YouTube has my artwork on it. So like it got huge to the point where Cudi once, and I'm like 16 at the time, Cudi once tweeted like, I don't know what this artwork is. That's not the official artwork, whatever. And I'm like, dude, Cudi, I made that artwork, dude. Notice me, notice me. And I remember Dot to Genius like said like, hey, that's dope and whatever, but Cudi never did. So like I've always wanted Cudi to like notice me, senpai. Like, right? Like I've always wanted that. I've never met the guy. I've been to a couple of his concerts, and and so, like after I was like 18, I stopped trying to get him to like, because I became an adult. But so I stopped trying on Twitter and whatever to like get him to like retweet me or say what's up or whatever. But it's so crazy now that like, and obviously it's because of JP. It's because of what JP sung the song on television, and I just so happened to post the clip and tag Cudi in it. But still, to see like here's Cudi tweeting something and there's me. It's like that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. So that was like a cool moment for me, and for that to be because of the Mariners is like just mind blowing to me.
It's just all coming up Ty,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh
it's pretty
God.
crazy. They need to get him out there. Kevin Martinez or whoever handles that stuff now. Like they need to get on that. They need to get Cudi out there.
I would be really shocked, yeah, if he's not out here for one of these games. And yeah, Kevin, they all do such. To go back to one of the earlier parts you talked about the organization. Kevin, like I saw Kevin after the first night of Champagne, the playoffs one, and I go and shake his hand and say congratulations because he always been nice to me. He's retweeted
Yeah.
us at times just for
Yeah.
Mariners things, and he said congratulations to you. I was like, hey, he's just very selfish, the
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that'll.
The first thing Kevin ever said to me when I talked to him was ahoy. He said ahoy,
That's
Ty.
that's the thing. He's very in tune, right? So that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if he
Yeah.
he didn't. That's a different discussion, and I got to wrap it up. But
Yeah.
folks, understandably are upset with free agency stuff like that, and then they go and attack like the marketing department or social media. And
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
promise you, these folks are not like they're
Yeah.
doing different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, we'll have to get Ty on again because there's so many different parts of this that I want to extend on, but I don't want to be respectful of Ty's time. I've got to go and hear from whatever Mr. Dan Wilson has to say in his attempt at a mustache. Better than any hair I can grow. So,
That's right. That's right.
um, I'm sure we'll have you on again, but
Yes.
until
Yes.
we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well, and whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how about those Zaps?
Oh, I'm excited.
I know. Where are you going to watch all those away games, though?
Away games. Huh. I was thinking of coming here since, after all, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle sports.
I love that idea. Hope to see y'all here.